In my game design degree, we're taking a unit called Introduction to Game Studies. In this class, we're taught many fundamental concepts in game design. This class has asked a lot of big picture questions and contextualized a lot of things we, as gamers, tend to assume without thinking twice about. We've talked about the concept of illusion, which is more commonly and less accurately dubbed immersion, and the way games illusion a user into the world of the game. One concept specifically caught my eye: the SOC model, proposed by Stephen Conway and Andrew Trevelyan, and the concept of keying up and down. In this video, I'll break down the way this model can explain how the phantom pain tricks you into becoming Snake. Before we start, let's establish the basic concept of a game. Broken down to fundamentals, a game is a world with a set of rules, and a clear end state where one is accorded wins and losses, and players exist that operate within these rules. This concept exists everywhere in daily life. It's easy to assume video game developers aim to keep the player illusioned into the game world constantly. But this is impossible. A player's character in the game world doesn't navigate menus. They don't need to save and quit so they can eat dinner with their family. In order for a game to function, there needs to be this interplay between the illusioned character world and the higher level operative and social world, hence the SOC model. The SOC model describes 3 levels of existence in the context of play. The social world represents the pure social frame which one experiences as themselves. The operative world is where planning and decisions often take place, with awareness of the rules of the game. And the character world is where one is fully illusioned into the role of their character and operates as if they are one with them. In video games, players are expected to intentionally let go of their awareness of the game in the social world and surrender themselves to the operative world within the game's rules and the role of the character they are controlling. The SOC model is represented vertically, with the social world being the bottommost. In this model, gravity exists that is constantly pulling you down. A game world is inherently fragile, and it is often easy to involuntarily get pulled down, whereas it often requires effort on the part of the player to rise back up. The process of moving between these worlds is described as up or down keying. For example, a hacker getting banned exemplifies the penalty down key, from operative to social. A battery-powered game device running flat exemplifies the Vorhandenheit down key, from any level to social. Hideo Kojima games utilize upkeying frequently to better illusion the player into the game world. But first, more on Kojima and the phantom pain. Hideo Kojima's unique cinema-inspired approach to game design in his most popular Metal Gear Solid series remains a huge influence on modern game storytelling. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain has the player take the role of punished Venom Snake, a legendary mercenary and war hero of the Cold War, awakening from a 9-year coma. The character of Snake is highly defined, and the game expects the player not to behave as they wish, but rather to behave as Snake. However, the game does not enforce this as heavily as many other games do. There are numerous ways the phantom pain can drag the player's state of mind into the character world. Upkeying the player happens all throughout countless design elements of the game. Kojima's own cinematic style itself is an example of remediation, wherein the conventions or stylings of another medium, in this case cinema, are emulated to upkey the player. Beyond this, an example can be found in the way the Phantom Pain and the larger Metal Gear Solid series handle the game over sequence. Upon running out of health in the Phantom Pain, you didn't game over, Snake died, and the game world's characters grieve because Snake died, and you are Snake.
Snake,
For another example, where many games may prevent the player from behaving out of character, intervening before the player can perform those actions, the Phantom Pain gives far more freedom. Nothing is preventing Snake from doing it, so nothing is preventing you from doing it, because you are Snake. The Resident Evil 4 remake presents you with a wild dog. If you hurt the dog, the game says, Leon S. Kennedy wouldn't hurt a dog. What he actually did was free the dog. The Phantom Pain presents you with a wild dog. If you hurt the dog, the game tells Snake to stop it, because Snake just hit the dog, because you are Snake.
Boss, stop.
It is important to note that this is not to say that the Phantom Pain is better than the Resident Evil 4 remake for doing this. It is likely the developers intentionally made it impossible to injure the dog, just in case the player was actually trying to shoot the bear trap and free the dog. It would be very upsetting to kill the dog if a player was trying to save them. The Kojima Upkey specifically describes an upkey from any lower frame into the character frame. It is often misinterpreted as a fourth wall break, but is in fact closer to the inverse. Rather than shattering the frame of the game world for often comedic purposes, the game addresses something from the operative world, like a PlayStation's internal clock, or social world, like a DualShock controller's vibration motors, and insists on the player that it exists in the character world. Found all throughout Kojima's games, this technique has often resulted in moments that not only engage and illusion the player, but remain with the players for long after their playthrough ends. The final Kojima Upkey I would like to talk about also regards the ending of the game, so this is a spoiler warning, and you should skip to this timestamp if you want to avoid spoilers for the ending of Chapter 2 of The Phantom Pain. The Phantom Pain's narrative twist ending marks possibly the most staggering Kojima Upkey of them all. The Phantom Pain reveals at the end of the game that the customized player identity that the player created for themselves at the very beginning of the game, that was the true identity of Snake all along. Your appearance, your name, your date of birth, your actions during the playthrough, you were Snake. The game tells you that you had undergone psychotherapy to be tricked into the role of Big Boss, and that from that point forward, you are Big Boss.
From here on out, you're Big Boss.
This is literally what happened in the game. You have been manipulated into playing the role of Big Boss throughout the entire game by the game's insistent mechanisms. The Phantom Pain upkeyed you into the character world. Not just you as a player, but you as a person. The physical you. A fitting end for the Kojima era of Metal Gear. Hideo Kojima is one of the most prolific game designers and directors in the video game industry, and the Kojima Upkey is one of the many signature hallmarks of his directorial style. Though players may feel the Kojima Upkey to be a bit cheesy or gimmicky, there are far more subdued and subtle ways of upkeying the player that Kojima games often make heavy use of, and players may not consciously register. From just the simple act of a character world level reaction to a player's out-of-character decision, to insisting that objects from the social and operative world exist in the character world, the Phantom Pain tricks you into becoming Snake.